Now let's take a look at using deformers to shape our polygon geometry. So rather than selecting any of these components and moving them around, we can also use deformers, and basically these purple objects up here, to manipulate our object in different ways. Let's turn off the visibility of our initial guy. And then with this, what we can do is start to bring in a deformer. So let's say we want to use a bit of a bend. Now we'll bring the bend in, but it's still not applied here. Okay, it's just this little purple box. So even if we did something to it, it wouldn't do anything to our model. So what we need to do is parent it underneath the geometry. Now we also need to kind of fit the deformer to the model. And one way that we can do this very quickly is just to say fit to parent, and that'll automatically fit that to our model. Now another way to do it would just be to scale it and move it into position. Now from here we can change the strength. So you can see here it's bending it off to the side, so we can sort of change that angle. So if I set that angle to 90 degrees, we get a little bit of a bend to the back. Okay, you can change and modify the size here, and you can see that any part that's outside of that deformer is not being affected by the deformer. So, if you only want to bend the top, we can move it up sort of to the top and bend it that way. Okay. So we've got a bend on here. We can also add something like an FFD. So this is a freeform deformer. Let's drop it under our capsule and let's fit to parent. And this FFD allows us to select these points based on the number of grid points here. We can select those points and that will modify our mesh. So let me go to model, see that, there we go. And I'll select the FFD, and then we can sort of move this, or let's actually rotate it a bit. Okay, maybe select the point on the back and move that. And so we can use that to sort of distort things as well. All right. Now, once we are happy with the shape that we've got here, we can go in here and say, I want to make the current state, I want to set that to the object. So current state to object, it makes us a copy. So if I turn off that initial one, it makes us a copy of that with all of the deformations baked in. So this is the one that has the deformers on it, which we can go back and change. Okay, and then this one, what we call baking, has it sort of baked down. So let's delete this initial one. And then I want to build in the kind of area for the eye. So let's take this and we're going to go to manipulate the polygons. We'll choose a live selection and let's select the area where we want this eye to be. We need to create an opening here. So to do that, we'll right click and we'll do an extrude inner. So extrude it in like that. And let's maybe do one more. And then I'm just going to delete that. Now we can start to manipulate the points. So select the points on these two sides and kind of pull this down. And we don't really need to add too much in the way of, making it very detailed. We just want to get that sort of opening there. Now I also want some thickness to the opening. And so let's select these edges. I don't need the ones on the back or down there. And then let's do just a regular extrude. And I'm just going to pull this back and in. So something like that. So we create this sort of hole with thickness. Let's add a sphere to our scene here. This is going to be the eye. So we select the sphere. I'm going to rotate it a bit. And then I'm going to increase the radius a little bit. Let's move it back. So something like that. Now I want to create the detail for kind of the iris and the pupil for this. So there's a few different ways that we can do this. Let's take our sphere. I'm going to make it editable, and I'm just going to select, go to our polygon tool, select these polygons. Let's do an extrude inner, something like that, and then I'm just going to push it in. Okay. Let's now take that and we'll just extrude that in slightly. And I'm just going to go to loop selection, or edges, or under polygons, delete those. Select that whole thing and scale it up a little bit so it's right behind there, but there's a sharp line. And now, considering that we're going to be smoothing this, what we can do is add some extra lines in here, but we don't really need to do that just yet. So now we've got our basic geometry, we've got our basic eye. So in the next lesson, let's take a look at using some of Cinema 4D's really cool sculpting tools to continue to shape our model. So go ahead and do that next.